guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary and high school age. Today is day 1 of VBS, and this is typically the week that I do a ton of projects in the house and the majority of my homeschool planning for the year, because all of my kids are usually out of the house. It's the 1 week of the year where my husband and kids are gone for a big chunk of time. Not the case this year. My youngest and my husband will be at VBS. My older two decided they did not want to volunteer this year and instead have some personal projects that they're working on without any interruptions, which will be good for them. And I don't think it's going to impact me at all unless we get to chatting, which sometimes happens with my older kids. So typically, on a normal week, I will do Sunday planning, where I do a big brain dump and then I plan out my projects for the week. I did do a very large brain dump of all of the things I hope to accomplish this week, but I did not do a weekly plan. And I realized this morning when I was trying to do my daily planning that I probably should have had focus areas for each day this week. I was kind of unsure how things would go. I ended up getting a lot of stuff done over the weekend, some bigger home projects that I thought that I would use this week for, but I got those done, mainly organizing my basement and our homeschool materials and cleaning out my oldest daughter's bedroom and reorganizing and moving furniture and that stuff. So I do have my plan for today. And my big thing this morning is going to be Monday reset and then starting to go through my homeschool planning. I think I take quite a bit of time before we start our homeschool year to familiarize myself with all of the resources that we're using. I go through all of the instructor's guides, I read the majority of the notes, I go through the books, I cross off any books that I know off the bat we're probably not going to get to in a particular time period. I rearrange things, I get all of that pre-planning stuff into my teacher planner, my Erin Condren teacher planner. And then I really focus on the first 6 to 9 weeks of material so that I am super familiar with it and can hold conversations, discussions with my kids easily. With my youngest, it's not as much work, but my older two, my high schoolers, it's a lot of work. And so usually we use Sunlight curriculum, and Emma is going to be using Sunlight 630 for her senior English, but we are using Guest Hollow, Government, Economics, and Personal Finance this year for a bunch of their credits. So I am not familiar with Guest Hollow. Last year we did do some of the Guest Hollow Chemistry in the Kitchen experiments to go along with Emma's BJU Press chemistry, but we did not utilize all of the books and the schedule and all of that stuff. So I really need to sit down and figure out how I'm going to manage this schedule, cross off things that I know we're just not going to work through. There's a lot. They do not expect you to do everything. If you did do everything, you could probably get 3.5 credits out of this one course. So we'll see how it goes. I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, how much I want Emma to do, how much I want Jack to do of this particular course, but we will see as we get into it how much is actually getting done. I have a bunch of other random resources, so I need to kind of organize all of that stuff. I also need to brainstorm my July goals. It's the last week in June. It's the last week of the second quarter, even though my personal goals, I did my summer refresh at the end of May. I will be working on work goals as well as what I have planned for July for my personal goals. There's a lot of stuff to do. I also wrote down my game closet, which I've written down on my planning, my weekly planning, I think for like 8 weeks at this point, and have not finished that at all. So we're gonna see how it goes. It's like 7:45 right now. My husband and Lucy are supposed to be leaving in like 5 or 10 minutes. But he just got in the shower, so I don't know how likely that is. And then I'm going to get to work. I did not go for a walk this morning because I didn't want to eat into this chunk of time, so I can just start getting ready for the week. But first up is my Monday reset. I need to clean up the kitchen. I thought I would wash the floors today, but I think it's supposed to rain this afternoon, and so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to clean up the kitchen, see how much just general cleanup I can get to, and then start on the homeschool planning. Okay, so the kitchen is mostly clean. I do need to start working on the game closet. The game closet is pretty much organized, but the bottom couple of shelves that Lucy can easily reach are kind of a mess. So I need to go in there and just throw away some trash that gets stuffed in there, and then hopefully just reorganize things a little bit. I did print out the slingshot for Animal Farm for Jack, which he's going to be doing this coming year as part of his English credit. We are not doing a Sunlight English level for Jack this year. He would be in level 200, which is classical literature, and Emma did that 2 years ago and absolutely loved it, but she loves classical lit, which is why she's doing British lit this year. She just really enjoys all of those books. So Jack does not. Animal Farm is part of the government economics and personal finance course that Emma and Jack are going to be doing from Guest Hollow, and I have both the regular version on Kindle, and then I have the illustrated version or the graphic novel version. So I think we're going to be using both of those, and I think it'll be interesting to see how that translates with the slingshot. I am not printing out any other slingshots or boomerangs right now for the year because I just want to focus on this. The way the slingshot is written, it is 1 every 2 months, so you do 5 over the year. The boomerangs are 10 a year, so 1 every month that you can do. We're going to start with Animal Farm. I think that there are a couple of older boomerangs that are much shorter that correspond to some of the books that we're going to be reading for that Guest Hollow course, and so I probably will use those as well, but we're going to be starting with this one. I'm actually not entirely sure when we're going to be reading Animal Farm. It may be later in the course, but I think we're going to start reading that earlier just to give us the English portion for Jack. Yes, okay, it's 8:45. I'm hungry. I'm going to make myself a smoothie and then start organizing some of the instructor's guides. I think, I don't know, it looks like it's going to start raining, and I'm kind of not in the frame of mind to sit down and do homeschool planning right now, which doesn't bode well for my plan for the day. So I'm going to make myself some food and then see how I feel, and either I will quickly punch and coil bind some of the resources that I have, or I will actually sit down and start working on the homeschool planning. We will see. We'll see. I kind of just want to sit and read too, but you know, I need to be a little bit productive today. Okay, so I got all of the stuff bound that I needed to. I know that there is still some more organizing that I need to do with regards to Emma's student guide for Sunlight 630 for her English. I don't know how I'm going to work that this year. We have struggled using the parent and the student guides well, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. I know that neither of us like to work out of those huge 3-ring binders. Both of us prefer a coil because we like to fold things in on each other. I don't necessarily want to bind my instructor's guides though, because that's kind of a hassle. So I'm unsure. I've been unsure for the past 3 years that we've done high school levels. So nothing new. So the next step that I have is to start filling out these 12 boxes in my teacher planner. What I do is I will write down my vacations, special days, days off, all of that stuff, and then I start to go through all of the books and assign the books into the particular months that I want them to be in. I do that on sticky notes so that I can move things around if I need to, and I kind of do like 3 months at a time to actually write the stuff down. I mean, I write the vacations and days off and birthdays and all that stuff right off, but the actual books I kind of revisit quarterly because sometimes we move faster, sometimes we move slower, things get changed. This is more just kind of my broad overview of what I'd like done throughout the year. I guess I could write it all down and just hope for the best, but I use a lot of sticky notes and that seems to work the best for me. So that's kind of the next step, but I have to run out to the post office and return a few books. and then we will be back and see how I feel. I might actually take a break from homeschool planning and start to brainstorm July goals just to do something a little bit different, but I'm not sure yet. I'm still in my office. It's 11:15. I did run out to the library and the post office, so that was good. I got the game closet completed, so that is good. I have some KiwiCo crates that I have been saving for a rainy day. We will probably do some of those this summer when we start back to homeschool, because we do like a slow start when we start our homeschool year with just a few subjects and kind of ease into things. So I have that done. I've gotten quite a bit of junk just out of the house, so I'm really pleased about that. It is 11:15, and I think that I mentioned earlier that I was going to make myself some food. Never did. So I need to make myself something to eat, and then I think I'm going to sit down and just work on goal stuff until Lucy gets home, and then make lunch for everybody. So far it's been a good morning. I don't feel like I've done a ton of stuff, but I have done a bunch of stuff, so I don't know. I'm hoping that tomorrow I feel a little bit more enthused about planning or homeschool planning and things like that. I do really want to sit down and go through the books and just highlight the ones that I definitely know we're going to be doing, like in the first semester probably, and really start to go through those. And maybe I'll feel more motivated to do that this afternoon. It's sunny right now and I kind of want to go sit outside, but I also think it's going to rain. So what will happen is I will move all of my stuff outside and get comfortable, and then it will start raining, and so I don't want that. But first I'm gonna make some food. I'm pleased about the game closet. I will show you that in just a second. Pretty good morning so far. Okay guys, so I have moved to my outside office, at least until the rain comes, which I think is probably going to be around 3 o'clock. It's 12:30 right now, and there are ants crawling on my bug net. I am going to sit down and work on my goals. My July goals video will already be up when this video goes live, but right now I'm going to check in with my June goals. I'm feeling really good about everything. I do still have a little bit more to do with the homeschool materials. Actually, you know what? I did actually finish that this morning. That was mainly binding all of the materials. I'm still unsure on the Sunlight student guide and instructor's guide or Emma's English, but I don't think I'm going to actually bind that. I will just take it out in like 6-week increments for her based on whatever book she's reading at the time, and just put those in like a 1/4-inch binder. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. That'll most likely be the easiest thing. So I'm just going to go through and figure out my weekly, monthly, and quarterly plans. That is home management stuff. I'm putting that in my Erin Condren Life Planner, which I did a setup video for. So I just have to write in those items that I want to do monthly and quarterly. And then I also have to write in the weekly tasks. So overall, I'm feeling really good about my goals. I do still have a little bit of HB 90 left to get through. That workshop ended on Saturday, but I have not watched Friday or Saturday's videos yet, so I want to do that and just finish up on my goals and get my projects planned for Q3. We will see how that goes. Okay guys, it is about 1:45 right now. I'm taking a little bit of a break from my goals. I don't know if I've mentioned this in a video before. This one, I think that I probably have. I am currently going through Sarah Cannon from Heart Breathing's, her HB 90 boot camp, and it is a goal setting system that she uses, and I've been really intrigued over the past several years. I've been watching her author content for quite a while, as well as her planner content, but I've been really interested in seeing how she sets her goals. And so I did end up purchasing that course for Q3, and I've gone through it, and it's been really interesting. I am very good about working within time blocks. I time block pretty much everything. If you've seen any of my Plan With Me's, you will know this, because I wear so many hats. And so I like to segment my day into specific categories. So, you know, I have a homeschooling block, I have a work block, I have a home management block, I have a passion projects block, not all in the same day, but often that is what I will do. But that is typically what I will do. I will segment my day into specific blocks of time to work on specific things within that area of my life. It's also why I have so many planners, because I like to have things sort of separate. It gives me a little bit peace of mind to know when I'm in my home management block, I only need to think about home management. When I'm in my homeschool block, I'm only thinking about homeschool. It's just something that helps me. But she goes a little bit further in that she does not just track time blocks, she tracks task blocks. And so essentially what that means is that she is saying, okay, I have this many task blocks for the quarter to work on my projects. And then this is the number of task blocks within each project that I'm going to use. I have not ever been that meticulous about calculating my time, and I think part of that is because I have worked in the margins for so long. And so if I have 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, if I have an hour of time, I will do that. Now, obviously, part of the reason that I got this workshop was because I don't need to work in the margins as much anymore. My kids are older. They're able to manage a lot of the day on their own or with a list from me. And so I wanted to kind of try this out and see, but what I'm realizing is that I need to take this next quarter and track how long specific tasks take me. Things like recurring tasks, like answering emails or checking in with Patreon or being in my main homeschool network Facebook group. I do those things every day, but I couldn't tell you the amount of time that I spend. I do have some of that stuff within a communication routine, which I have for about an hour in the morning, but I also do a bunch of other things during that time. It's not just specifically one task. So I really need to figure out some of that stuff. So I'm taking a break from the goal stuff right now. I haven't even started looking at my personal goals. I will probably do that shortly. I am looking at Emma's book list for her British Lit 630 from Sunlight for this coming homeschool year. There's a lot of AP books in here, so if she wanted to, she could take the British Lit AP test. If I can find a location that she could take that, I could register her for it. But what I want to do is kind of go through and see if there are any books that I'm just going to cross off right now. And it's not because the books are bad or that we don't want to do them or that she won't read them in the future, but it's a very, very heavy English course. I think it can be a credit of literature, a half a credit of poetry, and a half a credit of composition. So she only needs one English credit for her senior year. So I don't necessarily need her to read all of these books. So I just want to go through and kind of see which ones I definitely want her to read. And then if she still has time to do others, she certainly can. There are 26 books in this English level, including a vocabulary book. No, there's 27 books and the poetry book. So we'll see, but I don't want her to be super overwhelmed. She wants a little bit of an easier year this year. Not easier, but she just needs a little bit of a break. Last year was a lot of computer work, and so she's looking forward to book-centered work. She wants to focus on her writing, and I want to give her space for that. We also have a lot of books in the government class, so I'm just going to try and go through and see which ones are the ones that we definitely want to do and which we can pass on. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap up the vlog here. I did just go through all of the books, and honestly I forgot that the other thing that I do every year is I will go through all of the books that we're using from whatever level, from Sunlight or whatever books we're using from other curriculum, often not other curriculum companies that we're using. It's primarily Sunlight, but this year it's also Guest Hollow. I will go through the entire book list and check on my library. We use Hoopla for our library digital services, and see what books are available on audiobook. And part of the reason is because I have 3 kids that are typically in 3 completely different levels for homeschool. And so it just gives me a little bit of a break as far as what I'm reading and discussing with them. But as I've gotten into the high school levels, and Emma is almost done with the high school levels for Sunlight, it's nice to have some books as audio options just in case we take a little bit longer on a book, or if a book is just not that interesting when you're reading it, it's easier to get through on audiobook. She has wonderful recall and has the ability to go through all of the questions and do all of the work associated with the books when she listens to them on audio. And when you have a course like Sunlight 630 that has 27 books, it's sometimes a little bit easier to give some of those as an audiobook. So I went through, and I don't think this has ever happened. Every single book except for one is available as an audiobook. And I probably should have realized that because it's British literature. When we did classical literature, the majority of those books were also available on audio as well. The only one that isn't available on audio through Hoopla is Lord of the Flies, which is the one book that she really does not want to read at all. So we will see which of these books I end up assigning as audiobooks. It really just depends on how our year is going. It's very helpful for me to have the list separated out by what we have available for audiobooks, so that when I'm doing my planning, if I know, okay, well, we're running behind on this, or we have a really busy few weeks because of some other thing that's going on, we can use an audiobook instead of her reading it. It's very helpful in my planning process. So that is the end of day 1 VBS. Everybody's home. Well, Matt's gone to work, but Lucy is home and she is resting. Everybody ate lunch. I ate lunch. I'm just sitting outside enjoying the weather. I am going to work a little bit more on my personal goals now and just enjoy the sun until the rain comes, which will probably be in about 30 minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.